myself in detecting certain Eastern Shore accents. I don't hear one a little bit at all. You probably got the thickest one I know so far.
Yeah, yeah.
So you clearly are been here. You're not come here.
Now, I am a native, Dave, obviously. I am, my official name is Levin F. Harrison IV, or more appropriately go by Buddy, or used to be Buddy Jr., but since the passing of my dad, I'm the only Buddy now. So I go by Buddy most of the time. People know me, call me Buddy anyway. And yeah, I mean, I was born and raised in Talbot County, lived on Tillman most of my life. Went through Talbot County school system, graduated from St. Michael's High School, went to Chesapeake College, graduated from Chesapeake College, and went on to Roanoke College in Salem, Virginia, majored in business administration. Way back when, in the good old days.
Did you want to stay on the Eastern Shore?
Oh yeah.
Kids grow up and they get out of Dodge.
Yeah, I you know, my whole plan was to always come back and work in the family business. I got my charter boat license when I was 18. I had been operating a boat prior to that, actually, from the time I was about 15 or 16. But started fishing with my dad when I was 8 as a mate, and just kind of worked into the fishing business first and the seafood business in the wintertime. We had Harrison Oyster Company in Tillman Island. Dad started that in 1966. Basically, I took that operation over for him when I got out of college in 1981.
So Harrison's transitioned to different businesses?
Yes, we had several different businesses, and I've owned and operated a few more on my own since then. But we had Harrison's Country Inn / Sport Fishing Center, Harrison's Chesapeake Alps Restaurant in Tillman. My grandparents started that in 1938 there, and they operated it until the mid-70s. And then my mom and dad worked in the business, but Dad took it over around 1972 for the full operation of it. And when he took it over, it grew from a 12-room inn and 3 charter boats and a 50-seat restaurant to a 50-room country inn with 40 boat slips. And we had, at one time, we had a charter fleet of 18 boats and a couple hundred seats in the restaurant. And he and Mom operated that until she got sick in the middle 2000s. And at that point, my wife and myself moved into the management end of it instead of the working end of it. But all during that time, as I say, I had been fishing, taking charter fishing parties all during that time, and I started managing and operating our wholesale seafood business, the Oyster Company, in the early 80s. They all kind of melded together, and we were there in Tillman until 2016, and I now have a restaurant in St. Michael's, Harrison's Harbor Lights Restaurant. It's inside the St. Michael's Harbor Inn, and we've been there since 2019. Survived the pandemic, survived the fire during the pandemic, and we're still there, thankfully. And I operate my charter boat out of Tillman, and as you were referencing earlier, I do construction transportation every winter. I take construction workers that are doing some kind of job on Poplar Island. I'm the transportation boat from Tillman out there and back. So try to do that in the winter and stay in the restaurant in the summer. And we take a few fishing parties now out of St. Michael's in the summertime. So.
Pretty busy.
Pretty busy, yeah. But it's a good busy.
Yeah, it's a good busy. But you know, the other thing that I love to kind of probe a little bit is, you know, the motivation for running for office. You know that this is not a Sunday walk in the park. It takes a lot of time. And I guess I'm curious about whether or not there was a tipping point for you. I don't know if you've been politically active before, but it is a special calling, and I would like to know your background on that.
Sure. I actually was elected to the Talbot County Council 1998 to 2002. Served 4 years. I did not get re-elected in 2002, although I tried. But I got elected again in 2006 to 2010. So I have served 2 terms on the council. I actually served as president once during each one of those terms. So I'm not a stranger to the county council or the county government.
Someone would say you would know better than
My wife asked me if I'd lost my mind when I first told her that I wanted to run again. But you asked, was there a tipping point? Basically, from if you're into politics and you're into government and you watch what's going on, I sort of felt like that the county council and the county government needed another local voice again, another traditional local voice. Although I live in Easton now, but I feel like when I'm on there, I'm a voice for the entire Bay 100, from St. Michael's down, from Oak Creek down, basically. Not that everyone on there doesn't do that, doesn't give you a voice, but I just felt like that it was time again to reach out and try to get on the council.
But was there any particular issue over the last, let's say, 4 years or 8 years since you were involved? So, oh my God, I've got to get back in there.
Well, there really there wasn't any particular issue over the last 4 years that spurred me to do this. I do feel like, and when I got elected in 2000, or in 1998 rather, I sort of came with an agenda, and that agenda and the backers that I had, basically, I did not get reelected because of that, and part of that was Bill 808, and that was essentially to allow a Home Depot or that type of structure to go basically where Aquapool is now. But at that time, the county still owned the land, and it wasn't annexed, or didn't own it, but it wasn't annexed into the town of Easton. So that would allow development outside of the town limits, outside the infrastructure, although it was right next door to it. Since then, 12, 14 years have passed, 16 years have passed since that, and it's all annexed in, and it's all town land now, and it's an industrial park. And so, you know, what cost me my re-election probably 4 years later would have been a moot point. But anyway, but where I'm going with that is I don't have any preconceived agenda. I'm a Democrat, but when I say that, I'm a moderate conservative Democrat. I know we have a tax cap and a revenue cap, if you want to call it that. I don't ever propose to raise taxes, and if you look at the budget structure over the last few years, I think our recordation and transfer tax has been soaring with property transfers, and that should well take care of us for the next 3 to 4 years. My kids, I have 4 children. They've all gone through Talbot County Public Schools. One's still in the school system. The other 3 have graduated and gone on. You know, education is a priority of mine, and a first-class education for all of our kids. I feel like we need to look at salary structures for our teachers. Now, when I was on before, Phil Foster and I partnered on an issue where we actually brought the starting teacher salaries in this county to the highest in the state. You can't do that for all the teachers because of the scale, but we need to look at where we are. We need to recruit the best people, and we need to make sure that they're going to make a living, that they're going to make more than a living here, if they're going to stay in the county or come back to this county to work. Same thing with our sheriff's department and our EMS. I'm one of the original members of Talbot County Advanced Life Support. I was one of the first 17 paramedics in this county. We did it all volunteer back then. I'm a life member of Tillman Fire Company. I've got 47 years in the fire service in this county. So pretty much spent my whole life volunteering or serving the community. Again, I think we need to look a little bit at our education system. While we need to adjust salaries, we need some accountability. I don't mind funding the school budget 100% if I've got accountability to show we're getting the product that we're paying for. I think we need to sincerely look at vocational education again in this county. Not every kid that goes through the school system is going to go to college, and more there are a lot of them that aren't going to school. And the school system will tell you now that we have all that. We have it through tech education. We have this in Easton, and we partner with North Carolina. I'm not sure. I think we need to look at, in the future, this county perhaps going back to a VOTEC center that offers not only automobile and diesel mechanics, but we offer video technology. We offer medical training, CNA training. So, and the answer will be, oh, well, they already do that at Chesapeake College. When they get out of school, we send them there. Maybe we need to offer that as their last 2 years of high school or their last year of high school, and start these kids in this county on a path to make a living that they can afford to stay here and live here. Again, when I went to school, there was college prep, there was middle of the road, and there was VOTEC. And college prep and tech, we can do all kinds of computer tech. I was the first council I was on are the ones that provided laptops for all the kids, and I firmly still believe in that program and advancements. But we need to look at some other avenues right now.
This is a contested primary. That's why the Avalon Spy will be doing this earlier than we thought. But it is kind of important for people to understand what I would call the differentials. And by that I mean, what are you bringing to the table that maybe your colleagues in the Democratic side are not?
I'm bringing experience in the county government. I've already served 2 terms, as I said, even though the most recent one was 12 years ago. So I know how the county government works. I bring business experience, having operated and owned several businesses and still operating one. I was very active earlier on in youth sports. So, and I bring a connection to the youth and the younger people of the county. I have, of my 30 employees, I'd say Michael's 21 of them are under 30 years old. So I'm still, I have my hand on the pulse of what the young people are looking for in this county. Yet, I'd like to think that with this gray hair I bring some wisdom, and I've been around the block. I've seen tough times. I've made it through some hard times in business, so I know what it's like to have to go through to operate businesses in this county, and to survive, basically. Yeah. And not that I'm any better at it, probably not as some people, but that's what I'm bringing to the table as a councilman.
The other thing that you mentioned, things that you're interested in, but I'm calling this section priorities. Are there kind of day one things that you really want to get involved if you're successful with it?
Well, I mean, we really need to continually try to make Talbot County, keep Talbot County the jewel of the Eastern Shore. And by saying that, we need to maintain its rural character. We need to continue to improve the water quality. The first council I was on, we were part of providing some grant funding for the Talbot County Watermen's Association to put seed, oyster shells on various bars in the county so that the natural spat set could take over and start to grow some oysters. Um, our water quality in Talbot is better, but it's nowhere near what it needs to be. So we need to look at the wastewater treatment plants. We need to look at some upgrades, not just BNRs, but move to ENR upgrades. We need to look at, Dirk Bartlett is a very good friend of mine, and he was on the last time I was on, and back then we were trying to get a sewer line down Bosman Nevitt Road to solve some failing septic tank issues there. It's still never been done. These are, and that's a tricky obstacle, because when you say that, people say, well, then if you put that line down the road, then there's all this open farmland. Can they tap into that line? Those are things that we need to work out. But the object would be to fix the failing septic systems that are on the waterfront and allow these people to hook in, so that we can, again, continue to upgrade the water. If something were to happen to the Chesapeake Bay or to the Mid-Bay watershed, the Talbot County area, Talbot County's dead. Tourism, I mean, tourism is our second biggest industry, whether you believe it or not. Right behind farming, and then the watermen behind it. But without the water, without the rural character, we're not going to have any tourism. It's the golden goose for most of this county at this point. And if we can't help to advance that, we're going to go backwards. Do we need a lot of new development? No. Do we need a lot of expansion? No. We need to follow, smart growth guidelines and develop or expand within the towns and the city, which is Easton in my mind, that have the infrastructure in place. But we need to do it smarter and better than even what we've done in the past. To keep this county the way all of us that are here now and all of us that grew up want it to stay.
Yeah, fair enough. This has been really helpful. I always end with asking you if there's something that you want to make sure that the community knows about you that we haven't talked about.
Well, I would say two things, Dave. I'm available, even though I am busy. I have a lot of help now, and I have some very reliable managers. So I'm always available to my constituents. They can always talk to me. My cell phone I publish, so people can call me. I'm here to help people enjoy living and working in Talbot County, and would stay available to them. And one thing, again, I say I have no preconceived notions or issues, but there's one thing that has bothered me over the last 12 years. I was part of the council that essentially gave University of Maryland Medical System the land behind the community center to build a new hospital. In the 2006 to 2006 primary and general election, the hospital was the hot topic. It was the political football. We worked, when I say we, the entire council, Republican and Democrat, worked to provide that land to University of Maryland Medical System to put a new hospital there. We gave up land. They have since provided the infrastructure. The sewer is in there now. It's in the ground. When I left in 2010, I jokingly made a statement to Mr. Duncan, Tom Duncan, that it would be 2025 before there's a shovel of dirt turned on that land. And unfortunately, my joke is still true right now. So one of the items that I would like to work on once I get in is to see where University of Maryland Medical System is going with their new hospital. They seem to have all the spokes in the wheel coming in place. They have a standalone emergency room in Queen Anne's. They have a standalone emergency now in Dorchester. There's plans to build one in Caroline. These are all spokes in the wheel that they discussed way back then.
Yeah.
But once they get all them We need a new center. We got some of the best doctors in the world. We got a first-class cardiac cath lab, one of the state-of-the-art in the country here at Easton. But the facility's old and it needs upgraded, and we need to now move forward with that vision for a new hospital for this county. And that would be one of my priorities if I do get elected.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.